Hi, and welcome back to Ask a Monk. Today's question comes from minor players. As I meditate, I first want to develop a context of equanimity and loving kindness with respect to my thoughts and emotions as they arise. We live in a culture of attack or be attacked. Can you do a short guided meditation on calm abiding, please? Yeah, calm abiding or these meditations on the altruistic emotions can be very useful. It's something that's best used as a companion to insight meditation. I wouldn't recommend someone to just go ahead and start practicing, developing loving kindness or equanimity or so on, if they're not really practicing insight meditation, if they're not practicing meditation to see things as they are, because it's generally basically just covering up our emotions. When you're angry and then you pretend that you love everyone, it's really not a way of gaining sincere love or sincere appreciation of the suffering that other beings are going through. The best way to develop loving kindness and compassion and equanimity and so on is through insight meditation. So we often encourage people after they finish practicing to develop these things. I would be careful trying to creating this idea that somehow we have to develop these things first before we can adequately develop insight meditation. I would say that if that's the case, then you really have to examine your emotions that are causing you to think this way. You have great states of anger and hatred in your mind, or a state, maybe even a state of attachment to the peace and the happiness, wanting to feel this a state of love and equanimity. You don't want to have to deal with the suffering that comes from looking at the negative side of reality, looking at our negative emotions. And you really have to, in the end, put that aside and approach these negative emotions. When you feel angry, you have to learn about anger. The best way to do away with it is to understand it. When you have an attachment, when you want to feel love and want to feel peace, or when you don't like the ups and downs of the mind, where the mind is liking, disliking, you want to be equanimous. You have to examine that wanting, that dislike for the turbulence in the mind. That being said, as I mentioned, it's something that we do recommend people to practice in tandem with insight meditation. So at the time when you're practicing insight meditation, you can also take a break and develop thoughts of love when there's a real serious problem in your mind, when you feel kind of angry about other people, or you feel upset about things that other people have done for you, or you feel like the world is out to get you, or so on. Then it's a really appropriate time to develop loving kindness and try to smooth out these emotions and calm your mind in this way, just reassuring yourself of the good emotions and the proper way to approach our interaction, the proper way to interact with the world around us. So a good way to do this is they say, to first start with yourself and make a wish for yourself to be happy and free from suffering. May I find peace and bliss and freedom. And then start wishing it for other people, starting with maybe the people who are closest to you. It can be the people who are in closest proximity to you. You can make a wish for your family to be happy and free from suffering. Another way to do it is start with those people that you love, because they are whether they might not be physically close to you, they're emotionally close. And this is because these are the easiest people to send thoughts of love to. So either people who are physically close to you or people who are emotionally close to you. May they be happy, may they be free from suffering, may they find peace and bliss, and so on. Then you go to people who are a little bit further from you, people who maybe you don't have positive feelings about, but maybe don't have negative feelings about. Maybe people in the near vicinity. So you can go in two directions. You can go in terms of your emotional proximity, or you can go in terms of your physical proximity. I generally like to go in terms of physical proximity because it's much more neutral. It's much less biased in terms of involving emotions of attachment and lust and so on. So you start with the people who are nearby, the people in this building, say, and then go to the next to the people in this city, then the people in this country, then all of the people in the world. And then you can extend it to other beings, extend it to animals, extend it to angels, extend it to ghosts, and all beings, going in terms of proximity. Now the texts do encourage you also to do it in terms of your emotional closeness. So you can start with people who you love, and then go on to people who are neutral to you, and then go on to people who are maybe enemies to you, people who you have problems with, people who you're angry at, who are angry at you. And this is really a good way to solve a lot of those emotional problems that we have with other people. When we're in a battle with someone, we can start in this way. First think of the people we love, then ordinary people, and then go on to this person. When we're not able to send love to them anymore, we give rise to too much anger, come back to the neutral person, come back to the person we love, and slowly go back out, in and out, and in and out, until finally we can send love to all three. And that's also a good way to start spreading it out to other beings as well. Once you can do that, then start sending it to all beings. This is in terms of love. It also is the practice of compassion. So these two really go together. Love is the positive side, where you wish for beings to get good things, to be happy. Compassion is just wishing for them to be free from suffering. This is useful for people who you feel sad about, you feel sorry for. People who have sickness, people who have problems. When you look at someone and you feel empathic towards them, you feel empathy. You can empathize with their situation, and it's a way of calming your mind and being a support for them, so that you're not an emotional wreck because of their difficulties. It's also a way of supporting them and allowing them to see this calm state, giving them a support. These two go together. The third one is wishing for people to or not wishing, but respecting people's good accomplishments, the things that they get. This is joy, feeling happy for people when they get good things. This is something that is I think not generally used as a meditation. It can be, and it's a perfectly valid meditation object, but from what you see people using it, it's not emphasized so much, and where you do see it coming into play, and where I use it a lot, is in daily life. When you see someone get something good, just actually say to them, "Oh, I'm very happy for you." And we do this normally. This is something which we should cultivate. And when someone gets something good, we say, "Oh, I feel happy for you," and wishing for them to get good things and to keep the things that they have. Really feeling happy for people when good things come to them, not feeling jealous. This one is the giving up of jealousy, the giving up of always comparing ourselves with other people, wishing for the things that they have, or not wanting them to get the things that we have. But it also means spreading the good things that you have. When you have wealth, to give to other people. When you have knowledge, to give knowledge to other people, to share the teachings, and to help other people to gain good things, and feel happy about other people getting good things. This is another important quality of mind that calms our mind and helps us to practice meditation. As for equanimity, this is something that really goes hand in hand with Vipassana meditation, and it almost is Vipassana meditation. You could almost say that the best way to practice, to develop equanimity, is through Vipassana meditation. Now you can do intellectual exercises like understanding karma, when you study the law of karma and you look at beings and you say they're going according to their karma. This is useful intellectually to calm the mind and to do away with this sense that it's unfair and why did that have to happen to them. Feeling angry when you see the political situation of the country, or you see people in great states of poverty and so on, seeing the very rich and the very poor, and feeling angry and wanting to change things, wanting to go and protest. the intellectual exercise of saying to yourself, all beings go according to their karma, is actually a sort of a meditation, because it gives you this sense of equanimity. This is one important practice that you can undertake when you study karma, and then you see beings in great states of loss and suffering, and in great states of power and influence, affluence. You can remind yourself, that these people in the state of great affluence, if they continue to repress those people in poverty, they're the ones who are going to have to attain to these states of poverty themselves in the future. It's a cycle. You get what you deserve, and when you think like that, you really do away with the sense of unfair. You see that really it's perfectly fair, and there's no need to get angry at those people who are oppressing the poor or so on, or hurting other people. They're the ones who are going to have to suffer in the future, and the reason why people suffer in the present is because they've done this to others in the past. But the best way to develop equanimity is through the practice of insight meditation. When you do so, you start to see everything equanimous. And in fact, to the point, once you practice insight meditation, as I already mentioned, it's the best way to develop these 4 states of mind. When you practice meditation, you understand yourself and you understand reality. And as an extrapolation to that, you understand all beings. You understand the nature of the sentient being, and so you can empathize with people when they're suffering. You know what they're going through. Even when they're angry or upset or engaged in immoral acts, you can understand them and you can feel pity for them, that they're addicted or they're stuck in this cycle that they can't break free from. That it's really not their fault. It's the development of habitual tendencies through ignorance, through simply not knowing what they're doing. When people are in suffering, you can empathize with them. When people get good things, you feel happy for them. You don't feel jealous. You feel good that good things have come, because you know that it leads to happiness. You're happy and content in yourself, so you don't need to compare yourself to others. And ultimately, you see everything with equanimity. You don't prefer to be with this person or that person. You accept things for what they are, and you realize that partiality is not of any use and is not of any benefit and doesn't lead to real happiness. So this is, rather than a guided meditation, this is a little bit of more on the theoretical side, but explaining exactly how you do it. I think it's important that it works for you, and if you want to develop a meditation based on loving kindness or based on equanimity, that you should create the sentence in your mind and develop these thoughts according to your own situation. As I said, we can do it based on people who are close to you, and then going out in terms of physical proximity, or you can do it in terms of emotional proximity. But it's something that should come naturally, and something that you should develop in tandem with insight meditation. Something that I wouldn't really recommend giving spending too much of our time on, in terms of developing intensive meditation in this area, simply because it's time consuming, and we'd be much better served to be developing insight meditation and using this to accent our development of insight meditation when a problem arises or when it really gets overwhelming. To use this as a support for our meditation. Okay, so I hope that in some way helps, and keep the questions coming.